Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be discussing about paleontology. What is paleontology? To describe it in the simplest word, we can say paleontology is the study of past life. Basically, paleontology is a historic science just like archaeology, cosmology, astrology, geology, even history itself. In paleontology, basically we try to find out about the past life and the causes of that life. In paleontology, basically we have 3 steps. In first step, we describe the phenomena of the past. In the second step, we construct a general theory about that phenomena, and in the third step, we try to find out the causes of that phenomena. Basically, paleontology is a science that can be placed somewhere between biology and geology. I have visited a number of Indian universities, and in most of the Indian universities, paleontology is taught in the geology departments. Reason being, the geologists are interested to find out the age of rocks, and because paleontology is mainly based on the fossils, and these fossils are buried in between the rock layers, and these can provide excellent information about the age of the rocks. So, that is why geology people are very much interested in paleontology, but these biology scientists are comparatively lesser interested in the paleontology. The learning objectives of this module are to get a basic idea about what fossils are and how they are formed. Second objective of this module is to gain knowledge about the state of the art techniques used in paleontology. The another objective of this module is to understand how fossils are used to reconstruct past environment, biodiversity and its evolution, and the last objective of this module will be to understand that how fossils are used reconstructing past geography. In order to appreciate the extent of present biodiversity and to visualize its future evolution, we need to have a deep understanding of the past. Paleontology is one such science that provides us a window into the past life going back to the almost 4 billion years. In the first module, you have learned about geological time scale, and that is very important here in paleontology also. To introduce the subject of paleontology, paleontology is the study of prehistoric life by examining the fossils. These fossils include both body parts and traces of the ancient animals and plants. So, we can say that fossils are of 2 types, body parts and the traces. Now, a body fossil preserves the actual organic and inorganic remain of an organism. Let me take an example, that a bird's limb bone, that can be a fossil or that will come under the category of body fossil. Similarly, a leaf of a tree or an insect embedded inside an umber come under body fossil. A trace fossil on the other hand provides an indirect evidence of the existence of an ancient organism. For instance, tracks made by early humans, burrows of ancient earthworms or fossilized dung of dinosaurs can be classed under trace fossils. Let me show you a figure. In this figure, there are 3 pictures of the fossils. The first picture is of a femur of an extinct pelican from 2.6 million years ago from Shivalik rocks, India. Second fossil, that is in between the 3, that fossil of leaf on a rock, and third one is a fossil of an ant that is preserved inside the ember. So, these all the 3 are examples of body part fossils. Now, let me have look on these 2 pictures. These are the examples of trace fossils. First one is the example of a burrow that is in a shale rock, and second one is the example of a dinosaur dung. This dinosaur dung, these dung fossils also called as coprolite, and these pictures are from Pisdura, Maharashtra, India. Let me have a look on this slide. The negative impression of an ancient organism is termed as its mold, and when this mold gets filled up by another material forming a replica of the original organism or a part of it, then it is called as its cast. Means there may be mold and cast. Let me have a look on these pictures. The process of mold and cast formation is shown in these diagrams. The A figure is showing a clam. Clams are nothing but these are bivalve mollusks. So, a clam gets deposited in soft sediment and eventually get preserved as a fossil, that is shown in the picture A. Now, look at the picture B. Somehow due to one or the other reason, this clam that was deposited over there, that gets either removed physically or by the shell get dissolved chemically from this layer, and this result in the formation of an external mold, and the mold that will be formed, that is shown in the figure B. Then this mold get filled up by new sediment, which on solidification become its replica. This is shown in filling of this mold is shown in the figure C, and then forming of the cast is shown in the figure 4. So, we can get this type of fossils also, which are produced by some other material from the molds of from the molds prepared by different organisms in the past. Now, what is a fossil? Fossil is termed as petrified if the pore spaces and the original tissue are replaced by foreign minerals. However, the original structure of the organism remains preserved. For example, a petrified tree millions of years old would still contain the annual growth rings. The process where the volatiles are lost and the fossil turns into carbon is called as carbonization. Several techniques are used in the paleontology. A student of paleontology must have the knowledge of these techniques. So, the study of fossil involves methods developed in other sciences and technologies using biology, mathematics, physics, chemistry and engineering to satellite based remote sensing and computer modeling. A paleontologist searches for important clues to interpret the natural history of past life. So, we can say that a geologist should have the basic knowledge of all the sciences including biology, mathematics, physics, chemistry, engineering, remote sensing, etc., etc. Synchrotron based micro CT scan can now reveal fossils of a juvenile animal preserved inside a fossilized egg without damaging the specimens. Means what I want to say that nowadays such type of technologies are available to us which can be used to reveal the information from the fossil without doing any kind of damage to the specimen. Other exciting field is molecular paleontology that uses polymerase chain reaction. Polymerase chain reaction is a very common technique for the biologists. So, this technique can be used here in the paleontology also. Basically, this technique is used to extract ancient DNA molecules from extinct animals including early humans and the potential of recreating them in near future. More importantly, paleontology requires the understanding of very basic techniques and can be mastered by the students. Fossils are first discovered in the field where natural erosion or excavation exposes fossil bearing rocks. Fragile fossils require extreme care and often are glued with the matrix to avoid damage. Large bones and skeletons are excavated using plaster of Paris jackets. A field paleontologist is required to take photographs by placing a scale close to the fossil before removing it. So, the photographic camera is very important for any paleontologist, and we place this scale close to the fossil, that will give us an idea of the size of the fossil. Collected fossils are catalogued in the field diary, and information about the precise geographic location using a GPS is noted. This noting of geographical location using GPS is also another important component of field studies in the field of geology. The stratigraphic context of the fossil yielding layer is also noted down. For microfossils, bulk samples are collected from specified layers. These field procedures are crucial for all type of fossil collections. In the laboratory, fossils are cleaned and restored if damaged. If fragmented or disarticulated, they are rejoined and reconstructed as close as possible to their original state. Microfossils are recovered from sediments by soaking them in water or other solvents and screening through sieves. The specimens are then compared with their closest extinct and extant relative for their taxonomic identification. Fossils are then numbered and catalogued in a book or on a computer. Replicas of these fossils are made in order to minimize the use of the original and for carrying out comparisons with specimens housed elsewhere. Photographs and micro CT scanned images are also taken for publication and sharing the results. So, the student must know that how the replicas of these fossils are formed. Preparation of these replicas is very important, because by making the replicas we can avoid the time and again handling and dealing of the originals. Now, the question arises, what are the applications of paleontology? Paleontology is having lot of applications in almost every field of the science. Otherwise, the general perception about fossils is that these are the dead remains of long extinct organism and only have historical value, but this is not the case. Lot of information can be drawn from the fossils, but the subject of paleontology is very relevant to the modern and future world. By paleontology, we get to know how, when and why the early organisms developed, how land masses have moved across the globe, and how climate has changed over the years and how it has influenced the past organisms, how past organisms have changed the physical features of these worlds. So, this all information can be derived from the fossils. Fossils tell us about extinctions, evolutionary changes and changes in the biodiversity over the past several million years. The study of paleontology has got several applications. Let me take one example. Fossils can be of economic importance also as well as of academic value. Since petroleum and coal are basically the product of ancient organisms, so the study of fossils is imperative for oil and coal exploration as well as exploitation. To begin with, fossils provides an idea about the age of the petroleum source rock. Secondly, they also provide vital information about the temperature and pressure conditions which are crucial for the formation of coal and petroleum. Paleontology is having important application in the process of evolution. With the help of paleontology, we can find out information about the evolution process. Fossils add very important dimension of time to the understanding of the organic evolution. Earliest fossil were those of unicellular prokaryotes. You know, prokaryotes are those which are not having a nucleus. So, the early fossils were those of unicellular prokaryote bacteria. Eukaryotes are those which are having nucleus, came much later. It is only around the beginning of Cambrian time, that is 550 to 540 million year ago, that invertebrates acquired shells. Soon thereafter, earliest vertebrates having a notochord, that is a flexible cartilaginous structure in the form of jawless fishes, which appeared approximately 525 million year ago. Here this picture is showing the fossil of a early fish, and this fossil is from China. Generally, one group of fishes gave rise to the early amphibious tetrapods. Approximately 375 million year ago, that would later go on to invade the land. This figure shows the image of an early tetrapod that existed about 355 million year ago and has been found in the deposits of Canada. Then early birds developed from theropod, that is carnivores, dinosaurs, and some of them had teeth and long tail. Here this image shows a Archaeopteryx from Berlin, Germany. Fossils from India, Pakistan and Egypt have revealed that the early whales were terrestrial mammals with 4 limbs. In fact, rudimentary limb bones are still present inside the whale flippers. So, this all information regarding the evolution of species can be collected or can be obtained through the fossils. If you look on this figure shows the morphological changes such as reduction of pelvic and hind limbs and lengthening of tail that occurred in whales due to their transition from land to sea. Now, this is a very interesting figure. Living under highly fluctuating and unpredictable climatic condition led to several innovations, including use of stone tools, better communication for making hunting strategies, followed by cultural evolution, most probably led to the increase in the brain size manifold. Let you have a look on this figure. In the upper part of this figure, climate fluctuations are shown, and in the lower part of this figure, changes in the brain size are shown, and this picture climately correlate the size of the brain with the climate change, and you will find that there was a significant increase in the brain during strongest climate fluctuations. Fossils have very important applications in biostratigraphy. Fossils provide relative ages to the rock they occur in. Fossils that were short-lived and had a wider geographical distribution are best for such assignment. These are also called as index fossils. The occurrence of different fossils together also helps providing relative ages to sedimentary rocks. The level of evolution and relative abundance of fossils are other factors that help assign an age to a particular stratum. Similar fossil content helps correlating rocks of different regions, subcontinents and even continents. Once fossil zones are tied to geochronologically dated sections, they can be used for precise dating of similar fossil bearing non-dated sections. This branch of paleontology is called as biochronology. Free floating foraminifers in marine and land mammals in terrestrial deposits are best for biochronology. Now, the application of paleontology in paleoclimate. Past organisms sensitive to climate change can give us useful information about the past climatic conditions. Let me take an example. If one is interested to find fossils of crocodile in 1,000,000 year old rock occurring in Antarctica today, it would indicate Antarctica had tropical climate because crocodiles exist in tropical climate. So, we can say safely that Antarctica had a tropical climate 1,000,000 year ago. Similarly, life shape is another good indicator of climate. Needle shaped leaves such as those of pine tree, they reflect climate conditions, whereas broader leaf of sal like that suggest subtropical warm and humid conditions. So, based upon the type of the leaf, whether it is needle shaped, whether it is broader, we can decide that what kind of climate existed in that area in the past. Similarly, tree rings are also good indicator of past climate. A wide tree ring would suggest a wet season, whereas a narrow one indicates a dry season that existed in that particular area. Stable oxygen isotopes preserved in shells, bones and teeth of fossils are very good for reconstructing past temperatures and rainfall. Close sampling of growth lines of fossil cells, corals, tree rings and teeth can provide very high resolution climate proxy data of ancient times. Now, let me have a look on the application of paleontology in paleoecology. A better understanding of relationship among present day coexisting animals and plants and their environment can help us reconstructing past ecological conditions. This study includes the reconstruction of past community structures, life history strategies, death and burial of the animals. Overall, such data added with physical parameters help reconstructing paleo-environmental conditions. Past ecological conditions can be built on the principle of actualism. That is by assuming that the extinct species must have lived under similar ecological conditions as their closest extinct relative did. Other procedures involved the analysis of functional morphology. For example, longer legs are meant for running. If we find several fossil mammal species with long legs at one particular time, it would indicate the presence of an open habitat in that area. Carbon isotopes are good indicators of past vegetation types. Photosynthetic pathways of trees and shrubs, they are mainly having C3 plants, differ significantly from those of warm season grasses which are having mainly C4 pathway. Therefore, diet of ancient animals can be reconstructed based on the stable carbon content. This information in turn provides information about the habitat of these organisms. Abrasive food leave scratches and pits on tooth surface. Grassy diet leaves more scratches, whereas a diet dominated by fruits and nuts leaves a high percentage of pits. Paleontology is having very good applications in the field of paleogeography. Fossils also inform where oceans and continents were in ancient times. Distribution of similar land animals and plants in different continents such as South America, Antarctica, Africa, India and Australia 200 million years ago indicates presence of one landmass, that is Gondwana land. So, to summarize this module, we can say that paleontology is a fascinating branch of science that provides a window into the deep time, showing glimpses of early history. Fossils teach us about evolution, extinctions, migrations, climate changes, movement of continents and rise and fall in the sea levels. State of the art technology is now being applied to the study of fossils. In near future, paleontology is going to be the forefront of research in astrobiology. I hope you have enjoyed this module. Thank you.